Welcome to the September 9th, 2020. Jeez, I was watching that. Sorry, I can do that again. Good morning and welcome to the September 9th, 2021 Berks County Board of Commissioners meeting. We are being brought to you live and recorded by BCTV, Facebook Live, Microsoft Teams, and YouTube. All those who are able to rise, please rise for a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, welcome everyone to our meeting. I will ask now my Executive Assistant, Jesse Blauser, to read the notice of public comment.
Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used: Microsoft Teams, Q&A, Facebook, and YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read.
Circle is there. So, Brian, you available?
Yeah, Commissioner, I keep getting booted out of the meeting and getting a message that I've never seen before, so I'm going to give this a try, and if I end up not being here again, I'll take it as a subtle hint from you guys.
Must be because my paper's wrong. Okay, Brian.
All right, let me get my screen share here. Very good. So, yes, our September 9th data report showing that a small bit of good news. Our case count has started to round over a bit. Obviously, we won't know until we can look at this over a number of additional days, maybe even a week to two, as to whether or not we're going to see that rounding over continue, or if we're going to continue to see an elevation of cases. But our testing numbers look very good. We're well above our reporting threshold for statistical significance in determining our positivity in the county, which does in fact take us to our next slide, our positivity slide. We see that we're back up around the 30% positivity. Again, this is inclusive of both rapid antigen as well as molecular testing and first-time testing. But because our test numbers are so high right now, we believe that this positivity number is statistically significant. The point being, if we only had one person going and getting a test and it was positive, it wouldn't be fair to say we had a 100% positivity rate. But because our test count is high, we believe this number is reasonably accurate. We continue to see small increases in our hospital numbers, not in any way, shape, or form suggesting that our hospitals are in bad shape or having problems. But we are seeing a week-over-week growth in the number of COVID admissions in our hospitals, and also small growth in the number of people who are serious cases that are being treated there. bit of really bad news. We had made mention week over week that our COVID death rate was flat. And in some weeks, we were seeing no deaths attributed to COVID. In most weeks, we were seeing maybe one. We've seen quite a significant increase in that over the last couple weeks. And I do want to... Commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I again got the message indicating that I was no longer in the meeting. As I was saying, we were making a big deal about the fact that our death numbers were very low. We've started to see those going up in the last few weeks. And in fact, the numbers that we're showing on this slide are not even truly representative. Our county coroner, of course, is much more tuned in to what's going on in our county than the Department of Health is. There's a lag in the time it takes for them to get the data. And I think that we can reasonably say, based on the data that we're getting from Coroner Hollenbach, that we're actually going to see this curve climb further as we go out over the next few days to week. Vaccine administrations, really not a whole lot with respect to change. We remain 9th in the Commonwealth. That makes sense given that we're in that position in population. We did see our position per capita for fully vaccinated go down 1 and no change in our at least 1 dosers. Taking a look at our 70% goal, Pennsylvania has reached the 66.6% number, while Berks remains at 62.1% fully vaccinated as of yesterday evening. When we project that out into our folks that have their first dose and hope that they are going to continue their series, again, as we've started looking at over the last few weeks, on the left-hand side of the slide is the raw data. Just if we take at face value everybody that has their first dose and assume that they would finish the series, it would end us up at about 74%. The reality is, when we factor in the significant number of 1-dose only people who, based on the timing of their doses, appear to be unlikely to go and complete their series, it probably means that we're closer to around 66% of that 70% goal. Looking at how we're doing compared to the state overall with respect to growth of vaccinations in all of the age categories except the age of 12 to 18, Berks County is growing at a faster rate since May than the state. So said another way, when we look at our neighbors, we're doing a better job in pulling our share of the load as compared to the state on the average. The exception, again, being in that 12 to 18 range, where statewide we are trailing quite a bit. A reminder, again, from 2 weeks ago, I believe, that there has been a strategy update for individuals who are immunocompromised, and what defines immunocompromised is clearly laid out by CDC and on the DOH website also, but it's effectively people who have significant diseases that cause their immune system to not function very well, or who may be on certain medications that create that condition. The recommendation now is that they treat their vaccine series as a 3-dose series, not a 2-dose series, with either of the messenger RNA vaccines, either Pfizer or Moderna. And those individuals are eligible right now to go and get that 3rd dose as long as they are 4 weeks out from their 2nd dose. And to avoid any confusion, this is not part of the dialogue about booster shots for the general population. Even though ultimately a booster for the general population would also be a 3rd dose, this is a separate concept. And these folks, as I said, as long as they're 4 weeks out from their 2nd dose, are eligible right now. And just a reminder, www.doyourpartberks.com, where our External Affairs and Public Information Officer, Steph Weaver, continues to do yeoman work in trying to keep on top of all of this and make sure that our citizenry has access to a reliable source of information. Also, your local pharmacies and your regular healthcare providers. That's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian Gottschall. Any questions or comments for Brian Gottschall at this point? Thank you. Hearing none, thank you, Brian. We did get a notice from Chuck Brantman from the IT that the Berks Internet is actually stable. It's a issue with Microsoft Teams and Microsoft. So they continue to monitor and attempt to adapt and overcome. So we're going to continue to proceed forward. My report is very simple on Cook County Wellness. As we stated a few months ago, we're going to an every 2-week report. So the data report from August 18th to September 1 for contact tracing was 380 new contacts for last week, and we're successfully reached 267. or a 70.2% success rate of receiving people who need to be contact traced. So those numbers certainly have spiked up since July, as well as the rate of people contacting. Okay, moving on to the approval of the August 19th, 2021 Commissioners meeting minutes. If there are no objections or corrections, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Okay, moving to public comment. Anything in audience or on Microsoft Teams relative to the agenda? Seeing nothing, we will move on. Item Budget Department, item A, adopt a resolution authorizing 2021 budget transfers in the amount of $243,977 and 2021 appropriations in the amount of $2,269,623 per listing dated September 2nd, 2021. Under Human Resources, we have item 1, authorize the appointment of Anne Marie Luce to social work at Berks Social Services. We have item 2, authorize the appointment of Jody Wilson to judicial coordinator in the courts. Item 3, authorize the utilization of a temporary agency for an account clerk 2 in the jail system. That's pending the hiring of an account clerk 2 position. So that's a temporary item. Under the Commissioners, we have item A, adopt the resolution authorizing the appointment of Carmen Torres as Berks County Open Records Officer effective September 1, 2021. Item B, adopt the resolution authorizing Kevin Barnhart as Vice Chair to execute a lease agreement between the Berks County Nonprofit Development Corporation and County of Berks for office space utilized by Magisterial District Justice Stephen Sheffo, 574 Ole Road, Ole, for a 20-year term expiring December 31, 2043. Item C, adopt the resolution. Libraries throughout the system signing on to agreements to follow state standards with respect to distribution and items relative to libraries. This is something we discussed a few months back to get people on the same page to follow the guidelines from the state with respect to state and county funding. Ratify and confirm payments set forth in Controller's Office vouchers listing dated August 26, 2021 and September 2nd, 2021, and the payment of electronic transfers and employee payroll. Just that quickly, we are at the end of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Ayes have it. Report of the Treasurer and the Controller. We have with us Linda Weaver for the County Controller's Report. Morning, Linda.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Did I say controller? Sorry, treasurer's report. Well, you can give both if you'd like. Go ahead, Linda. How about the treasurer report?
Commissioner Barnhart?
Okay. All right.
Of technology, one is just suggesting control.
Okay. And moving to the controller is probably where I wanted to be anyway. Grajna, stepping in for Sandy Graffius.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Grajna. Go ahead. You finish, please, and then we'll go back. Hang in there a couple seconds, Linda. Go ahead,
Good morning,
Grajna.
Commissioner. The AP disbursements for the week ending 9/9, and I need my glasses, certainly. Sorry about that. The total cash disbursements for the weekly AP for the week of September 9th, 2021 were $4,175,893.13. I'm not sure if you want me to go back to the prior weeks. The disbursements for September 2nd, the total cash disbursements were $12,842,620.62, and it included payroll, which was $4,386,963.99. And the week of August 26th, the total cash disbursements were $7,881,775.13. You're welcome.
I can report to you.
has been a important part of the economic vitality, the community vitality here in downtown Reading. There's different events that have come there, and we're able to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Was a tough last 18 months for them due to being closed by COVID. But they are opening up this week with a lot of concerts and events coming up. So please go to the Santander Arena website and see what's coming up and support the events that are going on there. Also want to congratulate Brian Gottschall, who is the Director of Department of Emergency Services. And Brian was awarded the BCIU 2021 Outstanding Community Partner Award. And he will be recognized during the Board of Directors meeting next Thursday. This award is bestowed to an individual based on criteria such as demonstrates your understanding of the importance and role of the BCIU, advocates in the community for the BCIU and the students and constituents served, and volunteers time and talent to support the BCIU. And Brian had a big role to play when BCIU held their vaccination clinics for teachers and employees. Brian has always been president, has worked hard to support their initiatives. Some comments from Dr. Hackman, who's the director of BCIU, says, without question, you fulfill all of the above criteria and more. Your collaboration, support, and guidance to the BCIU and Berks County schools are invaluable. Your dedication and contribution to emergency preparedness, all hazards planning, the countywide Keeping Kids Safe initiative, and the health and safety of our schools and communities have been critical. As evidenced by your efforts to bring awareness to the inequities related to student internet access, which ultimately resulted in the closing the Digital Divide Project, not only have you and the Berks County Department of Emergency Services shown support for the BCIU and the Berks County schools, you have also partnered with other community organizations to enhance the quality of life and services to the city and county. You have made yourself available 24/7 to provide guidance and information during the COVID health emergency, attended meeting with our school leaders to offer updates, insight, and guidance during the quickly changing landscape for the past 17 months, and have assisted in making connections with community partners. So, Brian, thank you for your support of the BCIU, and not only of the BCIU, but the support of our schools, which attend to our children throughout the county. So thank you very much, Brian. Also want to congratulate Oliver Arthur for being named as a 2021 PICPA Young Leader Award recipient. PICPA is the Pennsylvania Institute of Certified Public Accountants. And there's a conference actually being held today in Hershey. And PICPA annually recognizes members under the age of 40 who demonstrate an extraordinary commitment to the accounting profession. And there are a variety of factors that influence the selection process, and they're reviewed by a committee who selects them. So Oliver is among an elite group of members who have demonstrated a commitment to the accounting profession, to the active participation in PICPA and the community. So congratulations, Oliver, for your award here. One other item is this Saturday, remember, we are celebrating the 20th anniversary of September 11th. There will be an event at City Park Bandshell. Starts at 8:43. You want to be there a little earlier, and it'll probably run till about 10:30-ish or 10:40. There's an event going on there to commemorate September 11th and all those who died that day. When I was in Hamburg about 2-3 weeks ago for the press release about what Hamburger's doing there in one of the open spaces that they have, right when we were done, there was a police caravan going by with some RVs and people walking. So we went to see what it was. And you may have read about this in the Reading Eagle, but it was Frank Stiller. And Frank Stiller is walking 573 miles from Washington, D.C., which he started on August 1st, and he will finish September 11th in New York City. And Frank started the Tunnel to Towers Foundation in remembrance of his brother. His brother, Stephen Stiller, was a fireman in New York City, and he was actually just finishing his work that day. He was on his way home, and he was in the tunnel when September 11 happened, when the attack happened. So Stephen left his car there, went back to the towers, never made it out, and Frank believes that he died in one of the towers, excuse me, collapsed. So Frank is doing this for various reasons. One is to to raise money to assist the families of those who were killed, either be veterans and first responders who are badly hurt during their service, or the families of those who die in service. And he's also doing it because he does not want people to forget what happened on September 11th, and people not to forget those who went in there, rather than running away, turned back to help out those who were in the towers on that day. It was a great opportunity. He's 68 years old, and he's walking 573 miles in this period. So Frank, thank you for what you do. It's a great opportunity to help us all remember what happened on September 11th. For the younger generation, my son is 20 years old, so he was born then, so it may not be something that he remembers, or my daughter either, but it's important that we remind them of September 11th, what that represents for us, and that we may never forget it. Sorry. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. Commissioner Linebaugh?
Thank you very much. I wasn't supposed to be here, but I got home from vacation last evening and decided it was a good thing to be here at the commission. For those that are alive at the time and remember the events vividly of September the 11th, the image that comes to mind are the towers burning, the second plane hitting the towers collapsing. But September 11th is really much, much more than just towers. As mentioned by Commissioner Rivera, it's about people who ran back in when others were fleeing. It's about people that, quite frankly, didn't think about themselves, were focused entirely on others. But it's also about a time where in recent history, Americans came together in a way that we hadn't seen for a very long time. I can remember well the days and weeks following September 11th. Anyone that had an American flag was flying it. People talked to people they never talked to before. People were kind and decent. People seemed broadly to be more selfless than they had been before September 11th. Churches had more people in them, whether they were synagogues, parishes, it didn't matter. People were less concerned about themselves and more concerned about their families and their friends. And I think we need to get back to that type of sentiment today. I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to say it the way I see it. We need to be less selfish. We need to be more concerned about our neighbors and less concerned about our own rights. We need to think about the people that may not have the opportunities we have. Thinking about others makes the world fundamentally different. It makes our community fundamentally different. It makes our county, our city, our towns fundamentally different. The Bible puts it this way: love your neighbor. And that's one of the things that I remember following September 11th, and that I would love to be able to bring back. But I can't bring it back by myself. It's something that's done when individuals decide that they are going to not worry about what anybody else does, about what anybody else says. They're simply going to say, I love my country, I love my family, I love my neighbors, and what can I do to make my community a better place? What can I do to help the people around me? That's what I remember from September 11th and beyond. And I don't know what's happened, but we're not in a good place today. Let's not focus on others from the standpoint of we're in a bad place because of this person or this party or that group. Let's ask, what can we do to be the place where the change begins? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera and Commissioner Linebaugh, and I too want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues regarding September 11th. And in your own special way on Saturday, if you can't make it to the event at the City Park Band Shell, please remember those we lost during this terrible, tragic time of our lives. For those of us who were here, it's one of those things that ingrained in your mind. You never forget where you were, who you were with at that period of time. And Commissioner, to review 5 precincts that we're going to pilot for the electronic poll books for the municipal general election. Approve referendums on the City of Reading ballot. Review and approve poll worker payments for the general election. And we also have one that is a discussion item on increasing the number of drop boxes throughout the county for the upcoming 2022 gubernatorial election, which also coincides with the senatorial race for what will be the vacant senatorial position of Senator Patrick Toomey, which we believe will drive a significant number of people to the polls in the spring of 2022. So looking forward to that lively discussion at our election board meeting at 11 a.m. Another item I have is next Thursday, the September 16th, our meeting will not be here at 10 a.m. that morning. We will have our meeting, our first on the road with the commissioners at the Wyomissing Library. Meeting will start at 7 p.m. Seating is limited to 50 due to the Delta variant. They generally can seat 100, but we're going to limit it to 50. Same format as here, just that we're taking it on the road to give people the opportunity who otherwise do not come downtown and or cannot be here on a Thursday morning at 10 a.m. This is our first rollout at a 7 p.m. meeting. We're going to attempt to do this quarterly. And our final one for the year will be in Muhlenberg Township in December. We already have several municipalities who have indicated an interest in hosting us for next year for our quarterly meeting. So you're looking forward to seeing the commissioners with the Wyomissing Borough officials at the Wyomissing Library next Thursday, the 16th. Don't tune in at 10 o'clock. Tune in at 7 o'clock to see the commissioners meeting. And there will be a presentation by our host borough, Wyomissing. They will have some interesting things to talk about regarding their activities in Wyomissing. This too is also National Recovery Month. So we will have our National Recovery presentation on September 23rd. But if you're looking for events that are happening like the Recovery Walk and other items, go on COCA Berks, COCA Berks.org for more information. Also, we have up and live our Imagine Berks survey, our economic development survey that has been shepherded through by Pam Shook and her office. Please go online, take a few minutes to fill out the survey, what you like the most and what you like the least about Berks County and Reading. We want feedback from people. It's on imagineberks.org. They've been interviewing hundreds and hundreds of people, but we have 428,000 people in Berks County. We'd love to have each and every one of you blow up the imagineberks.org website with your responses. We want to hear from everyone. So the bennies of technology is you can hear from many, many people. It just gives you that other dimension. Also, the second annual Epler's One Room Schoolhouse Pulled Pig Roast fundraising dinner is being held Thursday, October 14th from 3 to 6. Actually, you'll be picking up the bakes, the pork at the Berks County Heritage Center at Epler's One Room School. I do have tickets that are available. They're only $9. That's a heck of a deal to raise money for the continuing restoration of Epler's One Room Schoolhouse. I ran into Jane Getz there last Saturday, and she has the facility open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 10 to 2 and then 12 to 4 on Sundays. She has pages and pages and pages already of people that have stopped by to admire the Epler's One Room School. So if anyone is interested, I have tickets in my office, or contact my office, 610-478-6136, extension 4, and I will see this cause out in the community.
Sign me up for 2, Commissioner Barnhart.
That's it. I knew I was a salesman.
Me as well.
We have 2, we
Look
have
at that.
4. How many more?
I told her I'll probably need more, so great. Thank you so much. So that's what I have at this point, those announcements. Do we have any comments from our row officers or their designees? That's a good thing. Okay. Any public comment at this point in the general audience, our live audience? Okay, then that quickly we will move to our questions on the live Q&A with Microsoft Teams. Jesse Blauser, would you care to read the questions and or comments on Microsoft Teams for us, please?
Sure. Dwight Wegman, Lower Heidelberg Township. With the number of various difficulties experienced, which election services was required to handle during the November 2020 election, what changes are expected to be implemented by Berks County election officials? 1, to remove voter confusion at the precinct polls involving the processing of mail-in ballots when voters arrive without their mail-in ballots in hand, or when voters state that they never received a mail-in ballot. And 2, allow both Democrat and Republican observers a visible opportunity to witness how some ballots are being adjudicated during the canvassing period and to be able to challenge any questionable adjudications. And 3, advise voters at the polls to always check their machine printed ballots for visible evidence that their selected candidates have their names properly displayed on the ballot card prior to having their ballot inserted into the tabulator. Crystal Kowalski, Wyomissing. Good morning, Commissioners. In January of 2020, county leaders had agreed that a unified forensic audit of the Berks County Constable system was needed to address both societal and financial concerns. The pandemic hit about a month and a half later, so I'm curious if the audit ever began. If it has been completed, where would the public be able to access the report? If it was delayed due to the pandemic, are there plans to move ahead with the audit in the near future? Thank you, Crystal Kowalski, Wyomissing. And Adrian Jadick, Wyomissing. Nice words, Commissioner Leinbach, thank you.
Christine Sadler, our solicitor, have any questions been deleted because not following the proper protocol?
I did dismiss one comment that was just commenting on the technical issues, just making sure we were aware. It wasn't they didn't follow procedures, but it was they specifically said in their comment, this is not a question or comment. It was just making sure we were aware that there were both audio and video issues.
Thank you. I just want to make a comment to Dwight Wegman. I think your questions are appropriately asked at our election board meeting. So if you're not opposed to that, I would transfer those to our 11 a.m. Microsoft Teams meeting so we can answer those when we have our elections director here at our meeting, Ron Rakowski, if anyone objects to that. I think that's a more appropriate venue for that. Any responses by my colleagues to the questions?
I guess we should say we did not move ahead with a forensic audit on the constables. The cost was enormous, and we were having difficulty trying to get our arms around the size and scope. We can look at that again. Crystal is correct that shortly after some pretty serious discussions, the pandemic hit, and we haven't looked at that issue since. But I do know that there was real serious concern, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost and difficulty in getting all the pieces together because the data resides in multiple locations beyond even just the county. Some of this data is with the state, so it's something we can look at again, but that is my recollection of where we left things. Is that correct, Christine?
Yes, my recollection is that Ron and I had several meetings with the one vendor to discuss that, and we just really were having trouble getting the data set to make it a meaningful audit. And not that the county's not willing to spend appropriate resources to address this issue, but we felt that based on the discussions with the outside audit company, that we were not going to get the results we thought we were going to get by looking at the data set. So we had reached out to court administration to try to get that information, and it just is a bit problematic. And then, of course, the pandemic.
Yeah, and that is a good point. In the discussion, we concluded we're not sure we can get the data we're actually looking for because of how dispersed it is. MDJ offices, controller's office, county budget department, AOPC at the state level. It's pretty complicated. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Do we have any other comments or anything to be brought before the board? Hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
We're back here at 11.